And
action.
Yeah, okay, good deal. Welcome back, everybody, to another message recap, the show where we recap messages, because we do a message every week, so we recap it every week. And this was week 5 of a series called We Are Access. We didn't have to listen to this guy. That was a great... Just kidding.
A relief, a
Kevin,
break.
you spoke for the first time in 8 weeks.
Yes,
you took
I
a
did.
hiatus, and you came back strong.
Just real talk time now. How was it just speaking again? Because I know that, like, that's kind of your gig.
You know,
Yeah.
the 8 weeks was hard for me.
Yeah.
And if you weren't as good at it, we'd be having a talk. But it's something I love to do. We do it different.
Mm-hmm.
You really do put more probably planning in it, and I more speak from the cuff.
Yep.
And if you watch, you can probably tell. You know, but I really enjoy it, and I wish I could talk all the time. And you guys don't get they know I talk all the time. so
We have not had an 8-week hiatus.
Yeah, they have not. So, but anyway, I enjoy doing messages on Sunday, and I really appreciate the opportunity to do it here still. And I really was passionate about the topic. We've been passionate about all the topics, but I think it's a good one. I like this whole series, and it's great. And, I think the one main point, are we ready for this? Mm-hmm. One main point we were trying to get across, and that is it seems like in Christianity, we are almost encouraged to not let people see who we really are. Mm-hmm. And I think that's just a sad point. That's what the message was all about. There's no advantage to... We in Christianity almost feel like, or we've been taught this, we feel this way that, well, if I admit it, then I'm guilty. I mean, really, as ridiculous as that sounds. Well, if I let people know, well, then I'm worse. Like if I can keep things hidden, I'm not as bad of a person. And we start believing that. We actually do. And that's what that was all about. The value of being authentic is amazing. I think we brought it back to the mission that we as Christians in America would do such a better job relating and sharing a relationship with God through Jesus Christ in such a better way if we could just stop pretending we're better than we are. Yeah. Stop pretending we're better than other people. So, hey, listen, we're all the same. We've just discovered forgiveness through Jesus Christ. We're not any better. Mm-hmm. And so that's what it was about. Yeah,
so every week we've had a theme. We are something, because it's We Are Access. And this week it was We Are Authentic, and it's what you stemmed off of.
Yeah.
I think something you said a long time ago, people are not opposed to God. They just haven't been exposed to God in the right sort of way.
Yep.
And I think that's a lot of, not only do we mess up what God is really like, but that whole aspect of being disingenuous or pretending like, look at what God is, this like holier than thou sort of attitude really does unnecessarily push people away.
It does. It turns them off.
Well, and it's kind of just that it's as Christians, we want to draw more people to Christianity, growing relationship with God through Jesus Christ. But one of the biggest things that keeps people away from Christianity is Christians. and that was kind of the...
God dang it.
That was part of the premise of what you're talking about is it's because most of the time we're lying about who we really are. And an outsider sees that and is like, okay, well, I don't want any part of that. Like, you're not even truthful to who you are. You step in the church doors and you do one thing, and I watch you leave and you do the complete opposite. So,
and I know what nobody likes. This is true for every single one of us. Nobody likes a phony.
Yeah.
And yet we're taught to be phonies.
So there's a couple questions I've had, just because authenticity is something we talk about a lot, and sometimes I hear not direct challenges to that, but I've heard different people ask questions about it. So we didn't talk about this in the message, but I want to ask you some of those questions I've heard is what, to what level do you be authentic? Do we just go around
that was my
saying
question.
all of our crap all the time? Or like, what does it mean to be authentic based on different relationships? When is it appropriate? When is it not? I mean, you laid out a 30,000 foot view, but how do we What does that actually mean?
Great question, and that's why we do these recaps. And that's a great question. Oh, wow. If I'm going to be authentic, does that mean I go to buy a cup of coffee and just start spilling the beans about who I am? No, absolutely not. It's not appropriate. But when it's appropriate, don't pretend you're better than you are. You don't have to dump your garbage with everybody. Just don't act. When you see somebody do something or whatever, it's just these slight little things about we put our nose up or like, give us the impression like, oh, I can't relate to that. Yes, you can. You can totally relate to that. It doesn't mean confession in front of everybody. It doesn't. What it really means is stop acting like you're surprised or you're not like that. You might not be just like, it comes right down to this. Don't act or speak like we're better than other people. You just don't know my garbage. But I got garbage too, so don't act like you don't. I think it's that simple. And, this church,
but you don't need to be brutally honest with everybody all the time.
Well, no,
you
there's
can
no
still
need
have
to.
levels of information that some people know and some people don't.
Yes. I don't think I don't think the point of this is the detail of the information. It is an attitude of, I'm not hiding that, you know what, I'm not perfect either. I got problems too. And I'm not purposely hiding things.
Yeah.
In a conversation acting like, oh, I would never do that. Yeah, you would. You certainly thought it, kind of a thing.
What would you say, coming from a different angle, do you think there's ever a point where somebody could use authenticity as an excuse for a certain personality or certain behavior?
That was my second question.
Because that's what I was thinking yesterday or when you gave the message, just happened to be yesterday. But authenticity, if you're a jerk, okay, for a lighter term, is there ever too far you can take it where you're like, well, yeah, I'm just being a jerk because it's who I am. I'm being authentic.
That's that Bill Cosby joke from himself. Alcohol just brings out your personality. Well, what if you're an animal?
Yeah, that's really good. Great question as well. I'm glad you brought it up, that being authentic isn't an excuse to act the way you are, but hiding the way you are, pretending you're not that way. The biggest person that hurts is ourselves, because here's the deal. If I pretend I'm not a real jerk, but I really am, I will never go to God with it. I'm not going to ask close friends to help me with it, because I almost believe my own lies. So if you're going to make an error, I would rather see people act like who they really are so they can see how damaging it is. So they can see how, wow, you know what? I've hurt relationships. And they're going to stop defending it and actually go to God with it. And they're going to see the problem. So many times we don't see our own problems because we act like we're not like that.
Yeah.
So no, it's not a license to be an absolute jerk. However, it's better if we just be who we are so we can identify and see, I'm kind of a jerk. Otherwise, we may never know it or see it or think it,
Yeah. That was my big question that I had.
Yeah, another way to find out is in your circle of friends. If you can't pick out the jerk, it's you.
It's you. If none of your close friends are a jerk, it's probably you. That's a good point.
I don't have a circle. That's really the jerk.
Then you're a real bad jerk.
I think in Christian circles too, with this idea, and I mentioned it yesterday, this idea of, well, you're causing others to stumble. If you just let people know what you do, you're causing them to stumble, because if you do it, then it's okay for them to do it. No, that's just a total cop out. You're not encouraging it. You're not elevating it. You're not telling other people it's okay.
Yeah.
You're just being honest. And what can be wrong with being honest? And I know that sometimes it looks culturally bad. Well, that guy's just, you know what? You can never go wrong. The more honest we can be with ourselves and show that, the better off we will be. And I think even in culture, we don't want everybody running around acting like jerks. I'd rather live in a culture where everybody wasn't a jerk,
Yeah.
Just for real.
For real.
Yeah.
Instead of pretending you're not, what about working on who you really are? The Bill Cosby's thing, well, yeah, just, well, what about going to God and your friends and other people saying, I want to change the character that I have, not how I act.
Yeah.
Not what I show, but it's the who I am. I want that to change.
So the question at the end of the message was, how close is your private life to your public life? And you just kind of left it at that, again, because we only have a limited amount of time. But what would you say, for people watching, or even for us, what are some like practical things we can do to start to bring those together?
Yeah.
I'm probably not going to go to the gas station and just tell a random clerk I've never talked to about my marriage problems. Or overeating or whatever,
That's just plain weird. Okay.
Don't be weird.
Don't be weird.
Don't be weird.
You're not going to do that. But not being surprised or act like giving off this impression that I would never have a marriage problem. See, I'm having a hard time describing this, but as Christians, we seem to be taught to just act like we're perfect and let people think we are. That's the problem with this. Being authentic isn't dumping all your garbage on everybody. It's not. We're repeating ourselves.
But if the door opens,
absolutely,
don't leave it shut.
Let it flow.
Yeah.
I know a lot of counseling that we have done. A lot of counseling I do. As a matter of fact, almost always, if somebody tells me their problem, I will immediately say, "Hey, I understand that. I've dealt with that myself.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what? I'm dealing with that too. And this is what I do. This is what helps me," kind of a thing, instead of hiding it. When you're talking to somebody on a personal level, whatever level they're talking about, make sure you're honest on that level. It's pretty simple.
I'm sorry you're going through that. I hope someday you can be as good as me.
Yeah.
And
you wouldn't say it,
and
but
you won't have to worry about things like that anymore.
That's how it would come off.
Yeah. Bottom line is this, really bottom line. And this is what I love about this church. I love about you guys. I love about the people that come here. And that is, it's a pretty authentic place. We have people coming to this church from completely different backgrounds, completely different struggles. Some people's lives seem, to be successful as far as education, relationships, how they communicate, very educated. And we have other people who are the opposite of that, just not a lot of education, a really rough background, bad home life, whatever. And in this place, Access Church, when you walk in here, there is you can't get the idea. You don't sense there's any judging. There's some people looking down at others. I have never sensed anybody in this church, no matter how educated, no matter how long they've been a Christian, whatever, to look down at somebody else. And that's the result of just being authentic. Because here's why they don't look down. Because honesty, they know. I am no better than you. It comes down to that. I am no better than you. My life looks better, but I know as a human being, I have the same character you do. That deep down inside, I am a sinner. I am rebellious. I am selfish. I am greedy. You know what? We're all the same. And that's what being honest with that is authenticity.
Yeah, I remember.
It's being honest.
Remember when I first started coming here years and years and years ago, no matter what church I walked into, it was always, you could just feel it. You could feel the looks,
Yep.
And
Why did you get looks?
Well,
I don't know. It's weird. I'm still trying to figure that one out myself.
Dave doesn't own a mirror.
Mirror.
That's great.
Anyway, walking in here, I just almost immediately felt comfortable, and that's what I was telling my wife Mandy about. It's like I just felt comfortable from the day one walking in. I never got the heck is that
Look at
guy
all those
doing here?
piercings, or look at the t-shirt. Oh my gosh, he's got on a Guns N' Roses t-shirt. Nobody cares.
Yeah.
I felt the same way. I'd walk places and I know people would be judging me with their eyes about how short I am. And then I came here and people just vocalized it.
Yeah,
So
we're
they
all
were
right.
totally honest. Yeah.
We don't hide
Real
anything.
short, man.
Oh, you are short.
Stand up, Johnny.
Great. So
I'll tell you, the opposite though, if you've ever been in a place, and I know we've all experienced this, the opposite is if people come across a certain way and later you find out they're not like that.
Yeah.
Oh.
You know what?
You can't trust
None
them.
of us want to
Yep.
trust somebody like that. It's the Hollywood, it's the smile, it's the I love you, but I really don't.
Yeah, especially on that Christian love,
Yes.
nice feeling. Oh, welcome, brother. Welcome. Like, I mean, I don't like that. Even if that is you, authentic. That's still kind of weird.
You
But
just feel like you've been lied to the whole time.
Lied to.
Once you
yeah,
find, you
No
know,
man, if I
one
can't
wants to be
believe you
lied to.
there, I can't
What
believe you
else?
in anything then. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
So be authentic.
Be authentic.
It's important. Probably one of the most important things.
Very.
Really quick, to answer your question, which I didn't, how do we bring our private life and our public life close together? And I think it starts with, just being conscious of it. First of all, just being conscious of it. Even when you dress in the morning, I made a deal about Facebook, and hey, just stop and ask yourself, I'm about to post something. Is this true? I mean, is this really true? Are we really having this good of a time? Is our family really this great? Just how about bring it down to a little more honesty?
Oh, when you were talking about that, it made me think of a quote I heard from I don't know who it was, but almost exactly what you described it. He said, the reason we get so depressed or down ourselves, we compare everybody else's highlight reel with our behind the scenes.
Yes.
And I thought, oh, that's a good way to capture it
Yeah.
There is no win.
in comparison.
That's a whole different.
Hey, another one.
video.
So be aware of, I'm really putting on a show here. Be aware. Secondly, I think is ask the people close to you. Honest. Honest. And most of us have one or two really honest, good relationships. And ask your closest friends to just be honest with you.
Yeah.
Hey, do you see my public life as different? Do I put on a persona that it's really not me? And you know what? Let's go from there. Let's grow.
Yeah.
And let's just not think more highly of ourselves than we are. If any one of us honestly think really deep down that I am better than other people, we got a serious problem. We do.
Yeah.
We got a serious issue. Yep.
I mean, I'm a Packer fan, so I'm
we know you're
I'm
not.
automatically better. So. Oh, okay. Yeah. On that note, we are authentic. Make sure to go back, check that message out. If you haven't watched any message in this series, first
have
of
you
all,
been doing?
Shame on you. No, I'm just kidding. Shame on you. Just kidding. But no, watch them. This has been a great series. One of my favorite. It's just, even if you're newer at Access, what a great series to hop on board. You know what I mean? So check out this message. It'll pop up here in a second. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, and we'll be back next week with another message recap. Have a great week.